Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now I'm boxing. The biggest story over the weekend had to be Dillian White being flatlined by your boy Alexander Povetkin, right? In the fight where we were like, hey, let the best man win that one. They both been dope before, both been in controversial fights. I mean, Povetkin, the whole time, up until January 19, 2018, most of those wins, and he got wins over good people, but he was full of meldonium. So for me, there's a big question mark there, right? Dillian White's been doped twice, and Oscar Rivas fight, he was doped, right, and going through stuff like that. So these guys, and when it comes to Dillian White too, I'm seeing that they hollering about this mandatory position he had at WBC, where the WBC for me is very, very suspect, very, very suspect, right? They kind of letting them get away with it. I've never seen somebody, a lawmaker, mandate somebody to do something they don't do it, and they ignore that they mandated them. Dillian White was supposed to fight Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz on several occasions, but never did. So it is what it is, right? But Povetkin came out on top, knocked him out. The knockout went viral. It was an awesome knockout when you're looking at fighting. You look at the awesome knockouts like that, you know. And it reminds me of Deontay Wilder. How many of Deontay Wilder's knockouts went viral? You know what I mean? How many? I mean, they should have been all. He does that all the time. That's why America gets no excuse for not liking that guy. Povetkin just went back home and got a hero's welcome. Okay, a hero's welcome, right, for knocking out somebody like Deontay Wilder does all the time. Right? I'm just saying this is just the difference, right? But here's one thing: when it comes to Povetkin, his next fight, it should be only one guy, in my opinion, right? Maybe two, but one. Make sure that we keep talking about Michael Hunter. They just fought. Michael Hunter actually beat him, and Michael Hunter is the guy who looks good right now. Let's not forget that. Povetkin just fought Michael Hunter. And we'll say, well, he wasn't motivated. Why wasn't he motivated against Michael Hunter? Of course he was motivated. Well, he was also 40 years old and knows this is the back end of his career, right? But Michael Hunter was in his butt as a small heavyweight. Michael Hunter did not weigh him and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Michael Hunter comes from cruiserweight and was in that fight, definitely had won it. It was a good fight towards the end, but he still won it. And he got a draw in that fight. Shouldn't have. And who did Dillian White pick? Yeah, Dillian White picked Povetkin. Boom, got it. But let's all clamor for Hunter to get that rematch because he deserves that rematch. Doesn't matter who he knows, what he comes, and what he brings to the table. What he brings to the table is, I already beat you, really, right? And now that fight will make a lot more sense for everybody because the magnitude goes up. Because now Povetkin's the guy who knocked Dillian White out. So whatever Hunter does now, right, people would have to fathom it because they just swept it under the rug, right? That was the other way around. I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been. But so let's make sure to not forget Michael Hunter because that's what we would do. But this is also a video about, hey, Povetkin's over 40 years old. There's another over 40 years old guy that nobody wants to fight, which makes 40-year-olds look really good right about now. Because sometimes when you're talking about Deontay Wilder beating Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, what do you say? He's 50 something. Well, if he's 40 or 50 something, that nobody wants to fight. Still, we see what 40-year-olds can do with Povetkin. Povetkin keeps getting chances though, right? Just fought for the title with Joshua. Now he's fighting for a mandatory spot with him. Was in a eliminator with Michael Hunter. You know what I'm saying? He just constantly was been to England. He was fought their Price and everything else. He got some Huey Fury, which is a good win too. So he's been in high profile fights the whole time. Michael Hunter has just been beating those big old heavyweights and people kind of ignoring it, right? So this is a 40-year-old. Let's make sure this is clear. Povetkin's 40 years old, beat up your boy Dillian White, and Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz is over 40 and could be 50 from when you talk about Deontay Wilder. Just put Deontay Wilder in a sentence and his age goes up. If you say Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz was beat by Deontay Wilder, then they'll say, well, he's over 50 years old. If so, why is everybody else not calling him? He's a top 5 heavyweight in every sanction, but everybody knows who Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz is. The guy Dillian White didn't want to fight. Guy Joshua don't want to fight. Guy Tyson Fury don't want to fight. Guy that no one ever calls, and he's also old, right? So let's make sure we mention him too. Shoot, Povetkin versus Ortiz actually doesn't really matter, but let's make sure we're gonna be talking about But Povetkin being old, yeah, he might have to rematch Dillian White if Dillian White wants to do that by December. But if not, the names that need to be mentioned with Povetkin are Michael Hunter for a rematch or Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz because he's over 42 and is just as accomplished. Because listen, you get points for people not wanting to fight you, especially here, and it should be everywhere because it's documented. If your name ain't Deontay Wilder, you have never called Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz ever. His phone got dust on it, and we know it. So that's just something I wanted to mention. I want to keep it moving. Doma Sports Talk worldwide, and I'm up out of here, y'all.